I think it's pretty tricky business. I think you can make judgments about actions, that you don't judge beings, you judge their actions. And actions are good or evil in the sense that actions increase paranoia and separateness, or they increase unity. So you can judge actions and you can be opposed. I can say, I don't agree with that action you're going to do, and in fact, I'm going to stop you from doing the action. But as Kabir said, do what you do with another human being, but never put them out of your heart. That if I have to harden my heart in order to oppose you, I lost. We both lost. And that's part of the art of the inner and the outer of dialogue.
You know, George Orwell in 1984 refers to Big Brother as this sort of, one gets the sense that the game is that he's this loving tyrant, or at least his people believe that all of the cruelties are done out of some kind of a benevolence. And it seems to me that there's a longing that people have for perhaps a benevolent tyrant who will come in and straighten things out for us. Dostoevsky spoke about how people long to take their freedom and lay it at the feet of a benevolent church that might act in a tyrannical way.
I think the deeper issue is whether the universe is benevolent or not. Because we all see that when you invest in an institution or another person, you are investing external to your own deepest inner truth. And you've constantly got to be running that back against your inner truth. You can't just join a club and then say, I surrender to the club. Like the whole misconception of a guru is that you surrender to a person. You only surrender to that which is the truth where God, Guru, and Self are one and the same thing. So when you surrender that way, you're surrendering that way at the same time. I could never imagine surrendering to something that would invalidate my intuitive wisdom. And as long as you keep connecting to that, but the question of whether or not, then you know, that you don't have to judge whether it's benevolent or malevolent, you just judge, is this harmonious with my inner being? I don't have to judge you, I just have to keep my own game on a straight path. The question of whether the universe is benevolent or not, that's an interesting one. Because I have a sense, I was talking with Jerry Brown, who used to be a governor here and in California, and we were talking about that issue of whether you have to assume a benevolent universe in order to trust deeply enough to surrender. And we both could hear the lawfulness of the universe, and I would say that there is an evolutionary thrust that's not a Darwinian kind, it's much more of a consciousness evolution, or I mean the kind of metaphor I play with is the one manifests as the many returning to the one, or something like that. So there's directionality, and in that sense it has values connected with it, but I don't think you'd call that either benevolent or malevolent anymore. You wouldn't call a clock benevolent or malevolent because it's going forward instead of backwards.
Well, I know it's a deep philosophical issue. There's a strong trend amongst existentialists and amongst behaviorists and atheists and left-wing political people to suggest that the universe is fundamentally indifferent, and it's up to us to create our own reality. And I guess often people feel that it should be created from the intellect, from rationality.
Well, that's, I think, giving us really short shrift. Because to me the intellect is a kind of a very small system within a much larger context, and to deny the context in which the intellect functions is to leave one little segment of nature trying to subsume everything under it. It's a lot like the drunk looking for the watch under the street lamp, you know, when he lost it up in the alley, but there's a light here, and it's this sort of, what it also does is it makes the whole world object. The intellect makes the world object, because it's all you always think about things, and that always puts you one thought away from where it is. So you're always an alien in your own universe when you mediate everything through your intellect. So the fun is to have your intellect, as Ramakrishna said, it's a wonderful servant, but it's a lousy master, and I think that's probably true.